Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for joining us on today's edition of the English newscast on Info Television. Our headlines: the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has instructed administrative authorities to supplement municipal councillors for proper waste disposal. This is to uphold public sanity for the promotion of clean cities in Cameroon. And recent efforts made by law enforcement to combat drug abuse nationwide have drawn applause from the public. And in this newscast, we shall look at the fact that the Cameroon Football Federation has announced the kickoff dates and new regulations for the 2025-2026 MTN Elite 1. Those were our top stories. Details in a jiffy. Welcome back. In a rapid response to Yaoundé's sanitation crisis, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paul Atanganji, has pledged to equip the city's 7 municipal councils with 700 sets of cleaning tools within 72 hours. The message was passed during a security meeting this Wednesday, January 21, 2026, at the conference hall of the ministry. As you tell us, Jude Kenji.
Following a security meeting this Wednesday, 21st January 2026, at the Ministry of Territorial Administration, Minister Paul Atanganji unveiled a sweeping action plan to combat what he termed the collective shame of pervasive field. At the meeting, which gathered the Central Regional Governor, Nasri Pobia, the Senior Divisional Officer for Fundi, Emmanuel Marian Jingdeng, and all 7 of Yaoundé's divisional officers and mayors, signaled an end to jurisdictional debates. Administrative authorities are now centrally responsible for public hygiene. Minister Paul Atanganji declared, tasking them with direct oversight of the Clean City campaign.
President Paul Biya has given clear instructions that administrative authorities should accompany this campaign, which in reality depends on other administrations. But indeed, the collection of household waste falls within the competence of others.
The strategy is immediate and multi-pronged. A rapid 72-hour equipment blitz will dispatch 700 sets of tools, wheelbarrows, shovels, brooms, and rakes to municipal councils.
In less than 72 hours, the Minister of Territorial Administration will do is make his own small support to all the municipalities in Yaoundé with 700 wheelbarrows, 700 shovels, 700 brooms, and 700 rakes. So each council will have at least 100 wheelbarrows, 100 shovels, 100 brooms, and 100 rakes. So we have to accompany the process, and I think that it's very important for us to work with all the means we have. I think that if we are disciplined, we have to sensitize the population.
In a visible transformation, all roadside trash bins are to be removed from major avenues by the end of February 2026, replaced by officially designated dumping sites. The most notable shift is operational. Companies must now operate inclusively between midnight and 6 a.m. to avoid the foul-smelling field witnessed during the day.
We have asked the mayor of the city and all council staff and mayors to look for appropriate areas where the trash cans will be placed so that we can collect household waste between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning.
These new measures places fresh demands on residents who will be required to carry waste 100 to 700 meters to the new sites. All dumping points will be sealed with warning signboards. Enforcement is paramount, with administrative authorities mandated to conduct weekly field inspections to ensure compliance. Leveraging recent state allocations, Minister Paul Atanganji framed the campaign as a necessary shared duty, urging them to work with the available resources, emphasizing that a clean capital is now a non-negotiable public health imperative.
And the road transport sector has suffered heavy losses in the wake of post-election protests as nearly 40 trucks loaded with goods were destroyed. The alarming assessment was presented by the Transport Union platform during a meeting held in Douala. Details in this report.
The meeting once again held in the conference room of the National Union of Road Transporters of Cameroun in the Littoral Branch on January 19th followed an earlier session that took place on January 15th, 2026, during which leaders of the Transport Union platform assessed the impact of the post-election crisis on their activities. The trade union must also provide natural support to the transporters who were affected. Yes, I deliberately say victims, and I choose my words carefully. This was clearly presented to the Prime Minister and government officials. Some people had simply parked by the roadside when tanks and heavy machinery passed and destroyed their trucks. And we also know a truck is not just a vehicle. We know how much it costs. This forms part of the overall assessment. The crisis that erupted in the town of Megana in the Adamawa region was a major focus of discussions. Truck transporters reported the loss of both vehicles and goods. To address this, measures are being taken to support the victims. The post-election crisis was a harsh lesson for us. You saw how violent it was. Transport workers lost about 40 trucks, not to mention the goods inside. We reported to the Prime Minister that during electoral unrest, all sectors of transport were affected. Intercity passengers lost buses. Cars were destroyed. The situation in the Menganga is ongoing because the problems have not yet been resolved. On the Douala-Yaoundé road, we have observed that security checks continue, sometimes with only a single police officer on duty. On top of that, road conditions remain severely degraded. Road insecurity, excessive security checks, and poor road conditions are among the major challenges undermining the road transport sector. Transport operators had this to say. We met with the presidency and committed that transporters will help maintain peace before, during, and after the presidential elections. We upheld that commitment, and now that the elections are over, we are resuming our activities. The problems have been brought to the attention of public authorities. While awaiting the government's response, employers and employees in the transport sector continue with their activities as usual.
And on to this other story, doubts about the authenticity of some issued medical certificates are being brought to light. Many obtain medical certificates without any prior examination justifying the issuance of the documents. Mimi Tiobo made findings and compiled the following report for the news.
There is a crisis of confidence regarding medical certificate issues in Cameroonians' hospital. It is common knowledge that these documents are delivered upon payment as if they were ordinary goods. This undermines their authenticity as a medical certificate must meet the following requirements.
Pour l'établissement de ce certificat médical, il faut effectivement examiner.
The medical certificate delivered without examination is indeed illegal. Even when you ask the establishment or the delivery of a medical certificate by telephone, you must know that this one cannot be valid. It is illegal. We also know that the medical certificate must be based on medical facts found during the examination or on the patient's real statement.
Sur des déclarations véritables du patient.
Medical certificate is considered fake if it is issued without prior consultation with the patients. Regularly, I often decide to do so because when considering one's health status, let's assume for example in the army, you do fraudulous act like that. There are practical activities you may encounter where your body may not be compatible with, putting at risk yourself. That's why I regularly ask that my health status be consulted before doing so. A medical certificate is also deemed fake if it is issued by a healthcare facility that is not authorized to do so under the relevant regulations. Not all healthcare facilities are empowered to issue medical certificates.
Lorsqu'un certificat médical est
If a medical certificate is found to be false, or if it's deemed to be false by a court, it constitutes an offense under Article 259 of the Penal Code, which deals with false medical certificate. Both the person who issues false medical certificate and the person who uses it can face penalties. The penalty for issuing a false medical certificate is not reduced even if the certificate is used in a court of law. In other words, the person who issues a false medical certificate and the person who uses it to gain an advantage can face severe consequences. According to others, preventing the misuse of medical certificate is essential to ensure that there are issues in accordance with the relevant regulations and enforced.
And recent efforts made by law enforcement to combat drug abuse have drawn applause from the public. Several drug dealers have been apprehended in the past weeks and substantial amounts of substance confiscated from them. Let's watch. Drug consumption in Cameroon has escalated into a major public health and security crisis, particularly amongst young people. Consumers mostly target areas such as uncompleted buildings, bushes, and other less frequented places to carry out these unlawful acts. According to some citizens, drug consumption hinders development.
Concerning
the consumption of drugs in Cameroon, it is very dangerous because we are in a developing nation, and when some persons start to consume some kind of drugs which are not good, it really leads to no good. However, considerable efforts have been made over the past weeks and months by Cameroon's forces of law and order to stop the circulation and consumption of illicit drugs. Visible enough, the approach is held. The forces of law and order are doing their best to make sure they put an end to this system. We hail the efforts made by the forces of law and order vis-à-vis this situation. They are really playing a very strong role to apprehend even those who encourage youths to consume these drugs. In order to keep stamping out this phenomenon, civil society and parents may have to form a common front to face this act of delinquence and criminality. And away from that, more and more Cameroonians have been turning to digital loan apps for credit. Rogers Noam took an interest in the steadily growing number and spoke with some customers to get their experiences with the financial touch. Let's watch.
The number of Cameroonians resorting to loan apps for credit is steadily rising, and the reasons for this may not be hard to find. Studies reveal that a mere 27% of Cameroonians have a commercial bank account, with a paltry 15% having access to loans in financial institutions. It is no wonder, therefore, that loan sharks have seized the opportunity made even easier with cyberspace to provide financial inclusion for the less privileged. So how does it work? There is no better way to find out than to apply for a loan myself. After about 10 minutes of trying, I didn't succeed to get one, but this is what someone who succeeded has to say.
Première chose à voir, c'est que le taux d'intérêt qu'ils disent bas sont très élevés.
To begin with, the interest rate was 5,000 francs for a loan of 1,000 francs for 1 week. After 1 week, they added a fine of 1,000 francs per day, taking it up to a total of 26,000 francs to be paid after 2 weeks. On the 5th day after granting the loan, they started calling to threaten me. After payment, they offered me another loan, this time around for 2 weeks. 27,000 francs to repay 45,000 francs. I accepted the offer, and the same old story repeated itself. They started threatening me after 10 days, and because of my delay, I ended up paying 60,000 francs instead. These people are experts in lying, and their recovery team is brutal. The apps are all connected to the same center because when I requested a loan from another app, I discovered that they had already been listed on it. Our efforts to speak with officials of a loan app were in vain.
And as the dry season deepens, vegetable farmers are stepping up production through intensive irrigation and innovative farming practices. This ensures a steady supply of fresh produce despite harsh soil moisture conditions. Phillips Enchi visited some farmers and our reports.
Ridges unrolls with vegetable sprouting on it, while farmers work tirelessly with sprinklers to preserve these food crops in a moist environment. In the heart of the dry season, vegetable farmers keep multiplying efforts in growing vegetables so as to increase supply despite the absence of moist soils. At the Fula neighborhood in Yaoundé, swampy areas serves as fertile ground for farmers to grow vegetables.
Comme nous sommes en saison sèche.
As you know, we are in the dry season. To proceed with our farming, we clear the land and remove the weeds and do sprinkle water, then tilt the soil before transplanting the vegetable seedlings into the prepared farm. Immediately after the process, I proceed to sprinkle water to moist the ridges and improve the soil fertility. I do this every morning and evening on a daily basis. Farmers get up as early as 5 a.m., prepare and visit their farms using sprinkler irrigation system to maximize water efficiency, aiming at boosting productivity and keeping the farm moist. After the transplanting process, the farm demands natural manure, and if the manures are good enough to grow the vegetables, after a month of planting, we can proceed with harvesting and take it to the market for sales. So no matter the species of the vegetable, the duration is just a month for it to be ready for sales or consumption.
Je fais la cueillette après avoir repiqué.
The high demand of vegetables during the dry season now permits farmers to earn a decent income as the products are made available to Cameroonians despite their social class.
Ici, j'ai le
In this farm, I grow different types of vegetables. Water leaf, scientifically called Talinum triangulaire, Nkenenkene, scientifically called Coccurus olitorius, and even green, called African nightshade, and a lot more. So after harvesting, I do sell and prepare some for my family. A bundle of vegetable sells at 250 francs CFA or more, so it depends.
ainsi de suite.
As the dry season progresses in Cameroon, farmers continue to strengthen their livelihoods by adopting good agricultural practices, efficient water management, and innovative farming techniques.
And away from that, Polycarp Banlock, re-elected for his second term as president of the Littoral Regional Council, was officially sworn in at the Littoral Court of Appeal in Douala. This marks the start of his new mandate in full accordance with the law. Jessica Ndiwum throws more light.
Polycarp Banlock, re-elected president of the Littoral Regional Council and sworn in at the Douala Bonanjo Court of Appeal, officially beginning his second term in accordance with Article 310 of the General Code of Decentralized Local Authorities. I, Polycarp Banlock, swear by my honor and my pledge to serve the interest of the region, to fulfill my duties faithfully and without favoritism or discrimination, respecting the law in accordance with the values of democracy and upholding the principles of unity and integrity of the Republic. The special hearing was attended by judicial, administrative, and political authorities, as well as business leaders, economic operators, and traditional chiefs.
Polycarp Banlock est un homme.
Polycarp Banlock is a man who has always worked for the municipalities. He was mayor of Yanun We hope that this time there will be more resources to implement decentralization. We have many road projects ahead. You know, we're in rural areas and rural problems are common. Water and electricity issues are also shared challenges in our rural communities. The regional development plan is being carried out and Polycarp Banlock has made his term one of real achievement for the littoral region. Many foundations have been laid and now it is time for their realization. This is a continuation. That's why I was brought back to continue the work I started. We created the region from scratch and today we are making steady progress. The people are eager to see the promises of local development become a reality.
And now let's talk sports, as the Cameroon Football Federation has announced the kickoff dates and regulations for the 2025-2026 MTN Elite 1. This includes 2 championships, introducing major structural reforms aimed at improving professionalism and financial discipline. Phillips Enchi tells us more.
The Cameroon Football Federation has officially announced the kickoff date for the 2025-2026 MTN Elite 1 and 2 championships. The Elite 1 season is set to begin on January 24, 2026, while the Elite 2 will kick off a week later on January 31, 2026. The new football season comes with major structural and regulatory reforms aimed at strengthening competitiveness, professionalism, and financial discipline within the country's top 2 domestic leagues. Elite 1 will be contested by 14 clubs, while Elite 2 will feature 16 teams. The MTN Elite 1 Championship will be played in a single pool of 14 teams, with each club competing in a 26-match home and away format from January 24th to June 10, 2026, with a mid-season break scheduled for March 16 to April 4th, 2026. At the end of the season, the team finishing in 14th position will be directly relegated to Elite 2. Participation in Elite 1 will require clubs to obtain a national license from the FECAFOOT Licensing Committee. A minimum monthly salary of 200,000 francs CFA has been fixed for players, while coaches will earn at least 250,000 francs CFA. Each club will also be required to pay an engagement fee of 1 million francs CFA. The MTN Elite 2 Championship will be played in 2 phases. The competition will run from January 31st to June 6, 2026, with a break scheduled from April 1st to 10th, 2026. The teams finishing at the bottom of each pool will be relegated to the regional league. Promotion from Elite 2 will be decided through the playoffs up, where the top 3 teams from each pool will compete in a single leg round. Teams ranked 4th to 7 in each pool will compete in the playoffs down to retain their Elite 2 status. From this phase, the teams finishing 5th and 6th will qualify for the Interpols tournament alongside regional champions, where promotion places will be contested. Elite 2 clubs will be required to pay an engagement fee of 500,000 francs CFA. FECAFOOT also reiterates that all matches-related disputes and disciplinary matters must be handled exclusively by its judicial bodies with no